Gabby is known as the young woman killed by her boyfriend while traveling across the country, but that's not Gabby. That's not who Gabby was. That's not your Gabby. Can you tell us a little bit about Gabby?
Yeah, listen, Gabby just really was the kind of free spirit that you see, like to make people laugh, like to have a good time, like to explore and see and really just live every day, She wasn't all sunshine and rainbows all the time, but she really tried to make as many people smile as possible, and we just want to continue that.
This August is going to be 4 years since Gabby was killed, and she was missing for a few weeks before she was found. Can you take us back to those weeks when she was missing and the day that you learned she had been found? What was it like as a parent kind of going through that?
There aren't words to articulate, exactly what those feelings and emotions go through. You have a lot of hope, a lot of chaos, a lot of emotions where you can't control. And sometimes that's hard to understand and really navigate. As well as when you talk about media and stuff like that, as good as they are, they're doing the job, and they get desensitized to certain situations, understandably, because it goes through every day, their day in and day out. But it really, we call it Hell Week, is what we call it. And there's no other better title for it, to be honest. So when she was found on September 19th, that's what we do with the things that we do now, like talking about Gabby's story now. Nothing will hurt me more than that phone call I got on September 19th. So if I know I can get past that, I can get past anything. And the four of us, we're going to continue doing it.
Are there opportunities that you think were missed in Gabby's case that could have saved her?
Yes. Well, it's kind of the reason why we're here now, the lethality assessment. There's a program that's been on the books for 20 years. Dr. Messing and Dr. Campbell created this program. Why is it not everywhere? We don't know. But we're going to help get it to as many states as possible, New York being one. It's already in Utah. It's already in Florida. We just got back from California, where the Los Angeles Police Department are going to be taking the Maryland Network Against Domestic Violence's program as well. And we're hoping now New York's doing it. We're working on Georgia, Wyoming, South Carolina, the United Kingdom, Ireland, the Philippines, Australia, and New Zealand as well.
Your life has changed so much since that day. Was domestic violence something you knew about, talked about before that? And how has your life changed since then?
I knew about it because I was a product of it. Right? 10 to 20 million children a year, are victims of domestic violence. And when you think of domestic violence, you always think of the woman, sometimes men, but a lot of people forget the children. And when you look at all the things that people want to reduce the limits of, right? Like, so what I mean by that is, if you want to reduce the homicide rate, help domestic violence. You want to reduce the substance abuse, help domestic violence. Homelessness, domestic violence. Missing people, domestic violence. A lot of the topics that it's difficult to cover but have to be covered, kind of funnel towards domestic violence. So if we can really help domestic violence, all those other issues will get smaller. And you got to start somewhere. And the only way it's going to be done is if everybody comes together and does it. That's why we're here.
Tell me about the foundation.
Gabby Petito Foundation was started back in 2021 in October. And we want to help organizations when it comes to domestic violence, when it comes to missing people, and how can we fill those gaps that we've noticed. Education to us when it comes to domestic violence is the number one key to reducing the amount of times domestic violence occurs. Teaching the youth signs, things to pay attention to, and where to go when you find yourself or you have a loved one or a friend that's in that type of situation. Same thing with missing people. We want to explore ways to get more resources to individuals, not just in the big cities, but in the smaller communities where police forces are sometimes 10 to 20 people strong at best, and they just don't have the resources. So trying to navigate both of those worlds are just two tiny little issues, that we're trying to tackle. But again, together is how we're going to fix those issues, and that's why we're here today talking.
So we want to talk about some of the things that New York is doing. You're originally from New York?
Born and raised.
Gabby grew up in New York?
Yeah, absolutely.
So OPDV does a lot of work around lethality, educating people about the risks, talking to law enforcement and service providers about how to look at risk factors. We have a fatality review team that thoroughly examines how cases that ended in death were handled. We kind of talked about some of these things. And New York is also making some pretty big investments in coordinated community response. So I'm not sure if you've heard that term before, but Governor Hochul committed $20 million to 17 counties across the state as part of what's called the Statewide Targeted Reductions in Intimate Partner Violence, also known as STRIVE initiative. And these funds are supporting efforts of DAs, police agencies, probation, community, and DV service providers to work together when responding to domestic violence and gender-based violence. You kind of talked about some of this, but what do you think of these efforts?
The efforts are, listen, they're needed, right? I don't think we're going... To talk about it is one thing, but to see the action is another. The money is great, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm from Suffolk County, and the next county over, Nassau, they just lost one of their major domestic violence shelters, which is a big issue that we're trying to help as well. But one of the main things that I see is the penalties for domestic violence aren't nearly as severe. And if you want to help, then you should talk to the district attorney of every county and state to stop pleading down domestic violence felonies to misdemeanors, where the abuser gets to go home the next day, if not the same day. So the victim is going to be forced to have to navigate the retaliation that only escalates when it comes to what they just incurred in terms of being arrested, which should happen. So, I mean, I'm talking a plea rate of 90%. 90%. Why is that even close to being okay? That shouldn't happen. And especially when you're talking cases of strangulation. Strangulation is attempted murder at the end of the day. So if you hurt someone with a weapon, you go to jail for X amount of years. But if you strangle someone, you get to go home that day. That doesn't make any sense. And pleading down, I'm sorry, if any district attorney is out there and they're pleading down a domestic violence charge, they're not doing their job.
Are there other things you'd like to see happen to help these systems and agencies better respond to these high-risk situations?
I'd like to see greater education in the middle school, high school, college areas. I mean, I talk to children all across the country, and what the schools kind of put out there is you don't beat your spouse, you're not an abuser, good to go, then they send you on your way. We all know that's not the case, and the abuse can start anywhere at any time, right? So understanding the signs and teaching the youth on how to see those signs and where to go when you're in that type of situation is key. And we were just talking about it before. If you're ever on fire, everybody knows, oh, I'm on fire, I stop, drop, and roll. But if you're in a domestic violence situation, you have no idea where to go. I have never been almost on fire, but why do I know stop, drop, and roll? But you go outside to the hallways, there's a bunch of people out there. You ask them where to go in a domestic violence situation or who to call, they don't know. Why is that? And when we talk to schools across the country, you can't mention certain things. You can't mention certain verbiage. I'm sorry, these children have access to the internet now. They know a lot more than people give them credit for. And there's a way to navigate it to be respectful, not only to their age, but also to the situation and to the topic itself. There are ways to navigate and properly go through to figure out how do we do it and get it progressively. And you can incorporate proper friendships, bullying, stuff along those lines, so people know that it's not okay. Sometimes at home, it's normal to children. It's only when they get older they realize that it may not be normal. when they start seeing other families and how they interact. So teaching them and letting them know that, someone, touching you in ways that they shouldn't be, and if they're in your home, that's not okay. You should be safe at home. That should be your most safe place. And if it's not, then things need to change.
What do you want Gabby to know? If you could talk to Gabby today, what would you say to her?
I hope I made you proud. That's it. That's it. Hopefully one day I'll get to ask her.